Revival House Network.
And don't like the brags, I don't like the boast. They like hot butter on the breakfast toast. Watching flicks, talking chicks, I like to motorboat. Can Riverman make it, yo, a check? Nope. So look at all these movies I got. Commenting like, should we watch them or not? I know they just be acting for cash, but I still got one question to ask. Like, why'd he do that, do that, do that? If that was me, I'd be like, screw that, screw that, screw that. I'm an alpha, I'd eat through that, through that, through that. So why'd he do that, do that, do that?
All right, what's up, everybody? Another BTM commentary, a Revival House. Zach and Aaron here. Zach, this is Zach's movie.
Fucking Kid COVID and the bourgeois boy. Fucking we are doing this. Fucking. Did you just call me David COVID? Fucking,
David COVID.
Not high tea.
Hold on, man. Don't you cut me off? Don't cut me off. That's rude. Are you done being rude?
Didn't you?
Fine. All right. Zach's done being rude. So Zach, now he's going to introduce the movie because this is his movie. I've seen this movie a handful of times in my life. I know Riverman loves it. I really wish he would have came on board for it. But Zach, in particular, is a fan. Go ahead.
I wish he would have cum boarded us, like fucking waterboarded us in his cum on this show. Fucking this movie is one of those defining movies for my childhood, and it's one of my favorites. Like I always do that thing on Letterboxd, like you get to like 5 favorites, whatever how many it is. I always try to rotate them, but it's like I don't know why, because there's like 2 or 3 that I know are just like they're my favorites. Like fucking there's no point in rotating like fucking Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, Evil Dead, the original, and Angus, and fucking like those are like the 3 fucking big ones. Like I coom for these movies. We're gonna do it though. We're gonna do it.
All right.
On the show.
Well, so this movie isn't exactly easy to come by. I don't think it's streaming anywhere. I don't think it has. I mean, it only got a VHS release, right?
Fucking, it came out on DVD, but they were made to order, and the DVD case has like a publicity still that was taken before fucking Kathy Bates was even cast as the mom in the movie. It's got some other lady playing the mom. It's so fucking weird to see. Odd.
Lame.
Fucking, but yeah, this is a fucking, you could get it in 1080p on Vudu, and that's where I got it. Now I am so fucking ready to watch this movie. I love this fucking film.
I think I bought it as part of like some 90s combo pack on Vudu. But anyway, we're going to go and get started in 3, 2, 1, play.
And the fucking Turner Pictures. Oh, hell yeah. Look at that logo. Fucking Dumb and Dumber had that same logo. There wasn't a lot of them. Fucking, but like, man, I love this fucking movie. Fun fact, I got some nice little fucking trivia here. And there's one that like I always thought was like ingenious, like basically, but it didn't end up making the movie. It was in the original script. It says, in the original story, Angus, his dad was alive and both his parents were gay. When the movie was first shot, Angus' mom was made straight and his dad was gay. After the final cut, though, what we're left with, the filmmakers decided to abandon the gay parents altogether for good. Some key scenes were reshot with George C. Scott in his present role as Angus's grandfather. Basically, yeah, like fucking, it's so genius. Basically, the idea that like, oh, both his parents were gay, so one night, obviously, they were just like hanging out, like, yeah, we're friends. Like, we should try this. Like, what if we actually enjoy fucking, women? Like, I enjoy a man, you enjoy a woman, and then they tried it, and it just like, oh, this clearly isn't our thing. But they had a kid from that, so like in a way, Angus from the beginning was always just kind of a miracle, like figuratively, like a fucking, like he never belonged. And that's what this whole movie's about, like the way you feel growing up as a, teenager. Like you always stick out, you never blend in, fucking like you're always the sore thumb, so to speak. And Angus himself just completely captures this. And this scene here, we're meeting the kids. And Rick, he's the fucking bully. He ends up being played by James Vanderbeek, which was his first movie role. But like, yeah, fucking, basically it's setting up Angus has always fucking had trouble with this kid. But he's big enough to where he can always just beat him up. But it's kind of like fucking he beats him in like the popularity department and all that shit. Like you can't just fucking come in and fucking punch your way into the popular kids. Fucking that's not how it works, babe. And fucking yeah, I feel like I'm talking too much, Aaron. You say something. No.
Well, you're going on like a freight train. I didn't want to interrupt, but
Exactly.
It's a lost gem. Nobody really talks about this movie anymore. I remember in middle school and high school, Todd quoting James Vanderbeek's character quite a lot. Oh, I got my quarterback. Right?
Exactly.
Green Day, this really dates the movie to being like that Dookie era or whatever. Maybe not Dookie. Is it more like Nimrod? I don't know. But it's that 90s Green Day being the hippest band around. They're represented here. It blows me away that the movie's as forgotten as it is, because it does have a lot of cultural relevance of the time. It's got a lot of big supporting cast. I mean, not Angus, obviously. He never really went on to do anything else. But Kathy Bates.
He disappeared off the face of the earth after making this movie.
George C. Scott. The Shermanator, this kid right here who plays his friend. This kid was in a lot of movies back in the day. Major Payne. He was obviously in American Pie when he was a couple years older, and he sort of dropped off too.
That kid like has one of the best moments in like a genuinely like fucking when the bullies trip him in that
Does
scene.
he say "fuck you"? What does he say?
The fucking they trip him and he fucking cries and it's like it's heartbreaking. Like he's so fucking good.
It's sad.
He's so good.
Yeah, no, it really is. It's very genuine. It's almost like they caught a real accident or something on film. They said, just keep rolling, let's use it. You know, it's that genuine and real.
And you know it's serious because even the bullies like skip a beat. They're like, "Oh man, maybe we went a little too far." But fucking James Vanderbeek, he's just so in the moment. He fucking like, if this is important to us, he fucking forces him to bring that fucking blackmail evidence he has against it. But I love this song right here. This is by a band called Love Spit Love, and I didn't know that. I thought like, oh, this was just made for the movie because it just fits in so perfectly. And then like a couple years ago, I saw like a music video for it. It was so like surreal. Like, oh, that was just a song that was made and they used it in the movie. Like I'm seeing it a different kind. Like it was so weird. And like fucking the original song doesn't have like they added some of this like this marching band instrumentation in the song, and it just makes it even better. Like I want the Angus version of this song always in my veins.
It's also there's another the girl who plays the love interest, right? She was in Jurassic Park. She's also another child actor that dropped that acting. Like she retired too. Melissa
Lefevre. Fucking, she plays Melissa. What a great fucking name for like the pinnacle, the lady he's trying to. And there was a great line too where he said like when he was introducing Melissa, and it was a scene where he was skating around at the skating rink. He said like he introduced her as saying like she's basically that person who's just out of reach, and she's only there to like basically drive you crazy because you'll never be friends with her, you'll never be able to talk to her. And it's like the psychology that does, thinking that from the beginning, like fucking there's just some people I can never match with, I can never be friends with. Like fucking the whole hierarchy of how high school works, it's just they're out of, I'll never live up to. And like, yeah, that's just a weird way. And that is how you think about things when you're a kid. It's fucking, it's weird. Sad.
It's weird thinking about all that shit now as an adult, right?
Exactly.
And just how it all works out like that. And I don't even know, because I think there were those kids that no matter where they lived or what school they went to, they were probably always just built to be that outcast kid. You know what I mean? Just kind of the way they were and the way they looked or whatever. But then there was probably some kids to where it could have changed depending on the school they went to and just who they met on that first day of class and who they befriended,
And so much of the fucking that mentality is summed up in the movie, because it's like everybody's kind of going through that battle. Even like the people you think of as the popular kids, they have something that they're, as we
like
find
her,
out towards
she's bulimic or whatever. Yeah,
we find that out towards the end of the movie. She confides in Angus. She tells him like, you're the only person I ever told. And it's like he realizes that like fucking they're more alike than they, like everybody just kind of has that thing that they're self-conscious about. And it's like fucking he brings it up later. He's like, some of them have scars, fucking birthmarks, ears that stick out, and it shows his buddy.
Yeah,
it's genius. Fucking,
yeah,
it's great though.
Well,
I think it's like it's a universal language we all speak when we're like 15.
Everybody has their issues, as they point out, but I will say Lefevre, her issues still aren't the same. Like, okay, you have whatever pressure and you're bulimic. She's under pressure because she's like the cheerleader hot girl. I don't remember what it was from, but it's still not the same as being someone like that kid with the dopey ears who's just getting picked on relentlessly. You know, at least she goes to school and she's got friends and she's accepted. And I'm not saying she doesn't have her own scars, but
if it becomes like a real fucking body dysmorphia thing, like it does, it fucks with
maybe long term,
yeah,
because
like it's not like they look in the mirror and they're just like, oh man, I'm so fat, I wish I was skinny. It's like they literally like they're so like deranged in their thinking that it's like I see a fat person when I look at the fucking.
It's a mental disorder, yeah. I mean,
it's like they create like basically the stereotypical thing they don't want to be, like this generic, like, oh, that's what I don't want to be, and they don't realize that their fucking generic thing they've made is just their face
perception. Yeah,
exactly.
Oh, gotcha.
It's weird to think about. Yeah,
her issue's more long term because once high school's over, Angus could fucking go to get a gym membership and become a lawyer and get all the pussy he wants. You never know. This is like during that era where people haven't blossomed yet, right? I mean, they haven't really evolved into their final Pokemon form. So the sky's the limit as soon as high school's done, and nobody gives a shit about high school and that whole mentality. It's just done. It's so funny. Like, it's like the second you turn 18 and you're joining the workforce, legit, nobody cares anymore. You could have been the biggest dork at 17 in high school, but then you graduate and you get a job at a fucking Chili's and you're working with other 18-year-olds. Nobody treats you like a fucking nerd and is book checking you and shit. Like, it just doesn't do that anymore. It's really weird. But yeah, her issue could go on into her later years, and she could end up.
I love the way this shot is because it's like, it just is
depressing,
blending into the sea of people coming out, and then it's like he walks out and you notice him. That's the whole point. Like, he feels like he sticks out. Like he wants nothing more than to blend in. But Melissa Lefevre, it's like, when you're noticed all the time, you want nothing more. Or no, he wants to stick out. But like Melissa Lefevre, she, like, once you're noticed, you just want to blend in and not be noticed. Fucking and I like the song they picked. It's like fucking like a made-for-TV movie, and I just blew my line. Fucking genius, amazing.
So what's the story behind this actor? How did they find him? Was he actually trying to pursue it, or was he just somebody they discovered, like, hey, you'd be perfect for this role, and he just?
I remember hearing that the director stumbled upon him in a Chicago coffee shop, and they're just like, he would be perfect.
And they said, hey, can you act? You want to try?
Yeah, it's weird because, like, you gotta pick a kid that really fucking just because like adults can be just as cynical as fucking high school kids. They don't want like the adults to basically look at the main character and think the same thing the fucking bullies in high school are thinking, like, oh, sweaty fat kid. And it's like, it's sad to think about, but like, yeah, adults can be just as fucking like assholey like that. But like, we gotta feel like his emotions, like we gotta connect with him, like, oh, he worries about the same shit I did when I was a kid, all that shit, and it's gotta come through and fucking really hit for it to work, the movie. And I feel like the movie does work, but like it just slipped through the crack. Like, I feel like if all went according to plan, this would be like a fucking classic movie, but it just kind of slipped through those cracks, and it's a cult movie instead.
Was it a victim of what it opened up against during this time period?
It's hard telling. It's so fucking weird.
What came out? What year was this? Is this 94, 95, 96? I can't remember.
95.
95, right in the middle. Yeah, I wonder what it opened against. I can't think of too many big Batman Forever is like the only blockbuster I can think of in 95.
Mm-hmm. So like basically right here, he's already found his way out. We find out that Angus is trying to get into basically a nerdy school because he's really good at science. And he's thinking like, oh, this is my ticket out. Like I can be around other people that are more like-minded. I won't be the odd man out. I'll blend in more there. And like, that's kind of like where he's at now. He's just trying to fucking get this interview and do really well and shit. But like, as the movie goes along, you realize fucking, we'll see, baby. But we're meeting his mom right here, fucking Kathy Bates.
And she was an Oscar winner at this point. So the movie should have had some clout. And obviously George C. Scott, he was an Oscar winner too, Patton and shit like that. I mean, fuck Patton, I love him from Exorcist 3 and of course what's it called? The boring haunting movie you hate, The Changeling. I love that movie. I like it.
Yeah, they're referencing Patton here with this way he always wakes his grandpa up. And this is like, I noticed this while watching it. This is one of those kind of definitive like traits for like a movie that becomes a classic. It's like, it almost seems like you could take any of these supporting characters and basically the movie could have just as easily been from their perspective. And it would have been like the same kind of movie. Like fucking the grandpa is his own Angus. He's going through his own inner battles where he's worrying about shit. And like his mom, clearly later on there's a line where they set up that the mom and dad were kind of thought of as like low class or something growing up, and like she's afraid it's gonna haunt her son and stuff like that.
You know what Angus's first step should be to breaking out of his little shell? To get a different haircut than his mom. I mean, that's kind of dorky. Hey, we're forgetting to also acknowledge Dr. Strangelove. George C. Scott was also in. You know what's funny? Fun fact, I'm looking up what this movie opened up against in the box office. I was thinking maybe that's what killed it. But this movie opened up against every movie this opened up against is also a cult movie. Like, think about it. Hackers is what it opened up against. Clockers and To Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything. Julie Newmar.
What month did it come out? Was it kind of in that
September 15th? September 15th, not a good month.
Yeah.
So it must have been a shit month for everybody.
It must have been one of those movies that the studio just didn't think would like hit big, and so they didn't like kind of put it out in the big epic times to put out one of these movies.
But think about
the way it was like cut down. Like apparently, almost half of the runtime was cut out of the movie, and it was more of a drama, coming of age, more like, and they did kind of like show it to a test audience and thought like, oh, this will just play better as just any kind of run of the mill more comedy. Like let's just kind of recut it and give it more of that feel.
But you could say similar, fates ended up being for movies like Hackers. That's a cult movie, right? I've never actually watched Hackers, but I know people jerk that movie off that really like it. And To Wong Fu, I mean, I think that's got a cult following. That's kind of one of those movies that it was just, I bet you To Wong Fu was the number one movie, because I remember when that movie came out, it was one of those flicks where everybody was talking about it because of the controversy, but then like everybody forgot about it, right? Oh, you mean Wesley, the tough guys. You have Patrick Swayze and Wesley Snipes in drag. It's such a bizarre plot that I remember everybody talking about it. And even when the movie came out, it was kind of a commodity to rent, but time just forgot it. I bet you that was sort of the number one movie.
That Latino chick in that fucking movie was a babe.
That movie's so fucking bizarre, man. It's hard to hate. And it's kind of creepy.
I love Troy here. Like he's got his earphones on. He doesn't realize he's yelling because he's just listening to music. I'm swallowing snot. It doesn't taste that gross. It's really genius if you're watching it and you remember like moments of like this as a kid, or like you had your earphones on and said something embarrassing and your friend's like, dude, you yelled that, and it was like, oh fuck, and then it's like it weighs on your mind. Like I love the scene later on in the movie where fucking James Vanderbeek steals his underwear and they put it on the flagpole, and fucking they're coming out and it's just like, oh my god, nobody knows it's your underwear, but he's just having this weird fucking moment where he's like, fucking, I hope Melissa doesn't see it and fucking all this shit. And you know what? Your underwear almost looks as big as the flag. And then he starts seeing it through his mind's eye, and it's just like huge, his underwear. It's so fucking good. Like, what? I love this movie. It's amazing.
And you know what? Karma came through for James Vanderbeek's bully, man, because James Vanderbeek didn't get any more work after the late 90s. I mean, his career died.
It is weird, yeah. Fucking, I guess that was just like Dawson's Creek when it ended, like he was typecast.
Dude,
who knows?
Everybody else on Dawson's Creek went on to have a career. Well, Joshua Jackson, Joshua Jackson, he worked again, but he didn't really blow up. But everybody else, Michelle Williams was an Oscar winner. I mean, I think everybody else in that show went on to do huge things. And James Vanderbeek was the star. Oh, Katie Holmes, obviously. But Vanderbeek, he's like the lowest of all of them. And he was the star of the show. That's actually kind of like, well, no, I was going to make a Saved by the Bell reference, but I think Screech is the lowest on the totem pole. I was going to say Mark Paul Gosselaar didn't have as much of a career as AC Slater, and maybe even Tiffany Amber Thiessen. But no, I take that back. Jessie Spano disappeared. She did fucking Paul Verhoeven's Showgirls and then just dropped off the face of the planet.
Check out that hat our boy Troy is rocking, though. What kind of hat is that?
Look at his whole outfit.
I know. I swear I've seen that. I remember that exact fucking Walkman, that yellow, really obnoxious looking fucking that sticks out like that.
Really quick. Where do you recognize James Van Der Beek's buddy there from? This is going to be really obscure.
Fucking.
He played in one episode of Salute Your Shorts as fictional pop star Jamie Mallet Jr. that came to visit Camp Anawana. And he was hiding out from the paparazzi and he was just hanging out for a day.
Amazing.
And everybody was acting all starstruck, donkey lips, like Jamie Mallet Jr.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's a scene I talked over, and I like that scene where basically he lets his principal know that like, oh yeah, I might be going to the other school. Like there's a moment where he's like, oh yeah, like that's fine with us. Like he mentions like we'd hate to lose you. I'd hate to lose my one of my star. Like it just goes in one ear and out the other all the times. Angus is like kind of reinforced, like, yeah, we do notice what you do, but it's just like he never noticed, like he's not what he wants to be recognized as. And fucking so like part of points like that, like where it's just like it falls on deaf ears, and it's like Angus, like fucking people, they do like respect like fucking already, like it's not as bad as you think it is.
The only thing this movie's missing for this type of story it's trying to tell is a teen suicide. I feel like his best friend should kill himself or something. Like that should be in the third act or something, right? I don't know.
I noticed that this movie actually like like we always get those movies where they kind of flub the transition from the second act to the third act. This movie nails it because you got to like introduce something new in that area, and they do. They that's when his grandpa dies, and that's fucking heartbreaking. Fucking that whole scene, it's like they really fucking they nailed that, and that's when you realize a lot of the stuff that the grandpa was going through was like super a lot like Angus. Like he's getting ready to marry a slightly younger woman, but like Angus and his mom are kind of worried about him because he's very forgetful. He's always forgetting to take his pills. And there's like a point where like they think of this, they meet her and they're kind of like, oh, she's kind of ditzy, like she's just as forgetful as him. But then there's that moment after he dies, and she like they run into each other, and she like her fucking watch beeps, and she's like, oh, it's time for his pill. See, I did remember, and it's like, oh my god, this fucking movie, so much five-head shit hit me, so much five-head shit.
And I wasn't making light of teen suicide earlier. I was just saying that's one dark avenue they could have went down. That happens. Did you guys have any? Did you guys have any teen suicides in high school?
We didn't, but check this out. Remember this shot, this upward shot of him sitting in the sea of blue, because the blue is their school color. He fucking didn't pay attention. He showed up wearing red. He's the only fucking one wearing red. So like he's already sticking out like sort of. Just remember that shot, and just remember it, baby. It'll come up again. Go ahead, though. Go ahead with what you were saying.
No, I was just saying teen suicide was almost a fashion statement in my high school. We had 4,000 kids plus in our high school, so yeah, we had a few of that.
This is great. I need love. I am the recycle bin. And they're just like, woo, hell yeah. Fucking, I'm getting a boner. See,
dude. No. This brings back memories of just teen horniness in general. Dude, we used to have these assemblies. They never looked like this. We never had like the assembly in the assembly hall like this, where it was like an auditorium, kind of like San Dimas high school football rules that we never had those assemblies. They were always in the gymnasium. And we used to have the pep rallies, and dude, we had the cheerleaders, but we also had the dance squad. And you might ask, what's the real difference? Well, the cheerleaders were sexy chicks that did cheers, and would do the splits and jump and do the splits, and you would see crotch and you'd see vajayjay. But the dance squad were the same thing, but like whores. Dude, they came out and their skirts were even shorter, and they wore fucking ICP makeup basically caked on their face, and they would like hump the floor and shit, dude. They would like do that like real dance routines, and it was
Stacy shit.
I don't know. It was, thinking back on it now, wildly inappropriate because but it really was thinking about it now. But yeah, blows my mind.
Exactly.
I wonder what like the principals and all those people that were okaying those programs were doing on the sideline, just watching this. It was like dirty dancing, and we're talking maybe some of the girls might have been 18 if they were seniors, but they were freshman to senior, man. It was really weird.
Exactly. So, like, basically here, they're setting up that fucking James Vanderbeek decides it'll be really funny because Angus has such a crush on his girlfriend, Melissa. They're like, hey, she's going to be the fucking queen of the ball. And so, like, the king has to be crowned and they have to do a dance together. Let's get everybody to vote for him because it'll be so funny watching him get all nervous and fucking blow it and like shit like that. Like really, like he just thinks that little of him and it's like fucking, oh, I don't got to worry about Melissa actually liking
He wouldn't know what to do with it. Yeah.
Exactly, but then it backfired. There's a great thing too. Like he's always mentioned right here. Like this is funny though. Whenever they realize that, like, oh, Angus is the king. All right. Fucking, and then it's just like, wait a minute, what? And now it's all weighing in on like, it's like
she's like just as disgusted too. To be fair, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Melissa, she's not disgusted. Like we find out later, like she's just shocked. Like I thought, like Rick was supposed to win. That's what they were expecting, but Rick decided to go and do this shit behind her back. So it's like, yeah, but yeah, fucking.
The principal or whoever's like clapping his hands, but don't you think if you were in the administration that you would know something was up? Like, come on, you motherfuckers. Like, we all know you guys didn't vote for Angus. What do you guys got up your sleeves? Is this some Kerry bullshit?
I think they did vote. I think he convinced everybody in this to be in on the joke, basically.
Still, no, I would still think something was up. You know what I mean?
He probably does, but it's like, what can I do? I can't step in and make Angus feel even worse. If it's like, fucking, we're gonna recount. Like I
would just, I don't know. I would just try to see to it that nothing went awry during the actual day. I wonder how astute the principal is in your typical high school, right? I get it. They have a day job too, and they're working the 8 hours, and they've got their mind on so much other stuff, administration wise, but. How often do you think they're paying attention? Like, do you think they really know who the bullies are, the popular kids are, the cool kids? You know what I mean? Besides like the troublemakers that are in their office every other day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wonder. I've always wondered, like, how on the pulse are they really?
It established too that fucking Troy. They're such good buddies that Troy pulled the fire alarm just to fucking spare him all the awkward stares because he knew. Fucking his buddy Angus was just going through hell. And fucking everybody sitting there staring at him and putting it together in his mind. And I love this scene. Like, oh, there she comes. Like, oh, just look at casual. Look at this is how it was as a kid too. Where like everything was like a big fucking. You were trying so hard to look like you didn't care. Like fucking the weird contradiction in that. And this is genuinely like cringy to watch. Like it's like, oh no, it's like he accidentally squirts himself in the face and then just like stands there like a deer in the headlights as she walks by.
I would never want to be a teacher career-wise, just, the money, but I think it'd be fun to be a teacher for like a week, just to kind of see it from the other end, right? Like you said, because now it's like if you could go back to high school and kind of look at just all the kids and you would just laugh to yourself, like, I can't believe like this is how kids act, because now it's stupid. You go in there as an adult and then you're just, I don't know. It'd be interesting.
It's sadly, like for some people, they do get into like a job that just kind of still carries on that high school. There are some people whose workplace feels a lot like high school, but for most people, like, yeah, you do get out, like fucking, you just learn to like forget about all this shit because you're so detached from it for so long.
I couldn't help but wonder what Melissa Lefevre was thinking. She'd be at the dance.
But yeah, like they bring up that he's always sweating, and I thought this was really clever last time I watched it. Like, why do I sweat so much? Like, I remember as a kid sweating so much, and like fucking just like you think it's the stereotypical like, oh, I'm a fat kid, I'm sweaty, fat and sweaty, but it's like you're sweating because it's just the nerves that come, all the stress that comes with fucking just being that worried about how you're perceived at all time. Like it's just not like. It's not something that like that just becomes thankfully it doesn't become natural for most people.
I mean, that was a thing though. There was like, we all knew that larger kid that had bad hygiene. Exactly. Right? And probably them being bigger contributed to the bad hygiene, right? Because they sweat more and, out of breath more. I don't know. I mean, I could think of 5 different kids that kind of fit the Angus build in my mind,
Chads.
Yeah.
This is great to watch too, because it's like the fucking Oh, Melissa Lefevre. Oh God, look at those long fucking legs, those thick thighs. And it's just like this is a 14-year-old girl, but then it's like no, they were like 19 whenever they made the movie. It's okay to laugh at that. Very Chad.
There's no way the freckle face cartoon was 19. Man, he looks like a middle-aged mom. He looks like Tim the Toolman Taylor's wife on Home Improvement. Look at his hair up and.
Yeah, they were trying. We're gonna change you from a large, pathetic, sweaty version to a large, pathetic, sweaty version with a new look. So like, fucking, you think that like this is supposed to be like kind of like, oh yeah, we're gonna give you a makeover, but it's just like it's barely mentioned. Like you think that some of that was cut out, like some of the fucking we're messing with your look, and like they had to have made more jokes about how his hair looks like flock of seagulls. I refuse to believe that.
I know for a fact it's more than just looks, right? Personality and just how you are socially sort of kind of puts you in your place as far as like the clicks go. Some people are just social butterflies and they know how to interact, but looks are a huge part of it. And I think the she's all that method would work for Angus. Just fucking give him a haircut, like a short haircut, like a normal, like, crew cut or whatever, not a weird do like that. And, maybe dress him a little different. I know I'm the enemy. I'm saying he should conform. That's not what I'm saying, but I think that would be half the battle. He's a normal looking kid.
I think so many people don't realize that it's basically the box you put yourself into, because if you're always like people pick up on that. I think like if you're genuinely that guy that doesn't give a fuck about the clicks and you don't think about it, people perceive you as cool. Like you like, oh, that's something they don't do. That's cool. Like fucking, but like he's probably just so quiet. No, people don't realize it about him. That he's fucking.
Yeah, I don't think people think like that until post high school.
Right.
No, maybe. It's like it's when you're an adult, then it's like that. Oh, he doesn't need anybody else, so he's hip and he's he doesn't have to try so hard. Dude, you're thinking about that as a 30-year-old, but that's not the way it was when we were 14, 15, 16. Exactly. At all. People give a shit if you were wearing Jinkos or not, or whatever the fuck was hip, Let's
see, throughout the movie, his grandpa is kind of a voice of reason. He's talking about like Angus, like you can just talk to her, like she's just a person, like, and it's just stuff that just goes in one ear and out the other. And then like fucking one day, like, cause it coincides with the movie perfectly. Like he mentions like, oh, you get so used to people you love that you think they'll always be there. And then one day they're not. And it's like, once the movie hits that point where his grandpa dies, it's like fucking, then he's realizing that like fucking, my grandpa was like, he really is like fucking, like you have to become an adult to realize that the people that were telling you that were fucking right. And it's just so weird that you didn't even, nothing they said even clicked in your head that like there was any inkling that there's any truth in what they're saying when you're going through. But this is fun. We're going through the little, basically him learning how to dance because he's got to dance with Melissa Lefevre. He's afraid he's going to do it, but his grandpa is pushing him like, this is your moment. You said you've always wanted to talk to this girl. So he's like, maybe it is. And people around it, all around it, feeling hot, hot, hot.
What happened to his sweet haircut? Why now his hair's all fixed? They didn't look like shit before.
Yeah, you get the feeling that that was probably a bigger thing in the original cut, but like for this shorter version, it just kind of got glossed over a little bit.
He kind of looked, who he looked like when he was wearing that flannel and he had that weird tall haircut? He looked like Stooge from Night of the Demons.
Oh,
he looked like. I wish he was still on camera so he could actually put a face with it.
Exactly. I got to do a pee real quick.
We'll go for it. The Big and Tall store. I've accidentally bought cool shit and it turned out to be big and tall. And then I went home and tried it on. And it was t-shirts that went like past my knees. Like, oh. I get the feeling, it's funny, Max listening, he's not recording with us, but I get the feeling Zach was an Angus. Maybe that's why he feels so close to this flick. I wonder what happened to the redhead. He was in so much shit. Major Pain. I think he tried to come out of retirement. He has an Instagram. I think he started acting. I think he left, and I think he's been trying to get back into it. But you'd think he's got such an identifiable face, it'd be easy for him to get work.
It's your size.
And he's getting persuaded into wearing this big plum suit that's going to make him look like a giant California raisin.
I want normal. I want socially acceptable. I want a black tuxedo.
It'll look great on you, and as for what anybody else thinks,
Always remember these words and live by them. Screw 'em.
This, I wonder if this is George C. Scott's last movie, actually. I'm not sure.
Put it in the dressing room.
Put it on a rack. Put it on a dead guy and bury it.
This seems like a very odd role for him to pick, to be honest with you.
Big boy. What the hell is that?
This is the most awkward scene in the movie, right? Where they're trying to teach each other to dance with this rubber doll, and I think they borderline almost want to have a threesome with it. I don't know. A lot of this movie can resonate, I think, with kids, but did guy friends really practice making out with dolls and shit and do this stuff with each other?
It's one of those things like you always see it in a movie, but like at some point, I don't remember it, but I had to have like been nervous about kissing for the first time. I don't want to look like I'm fucking like I've never done it, but like stuff like that, you always think. And this is like a memorable scene. Like,
hold on, why is videotaping it helping?
he basically said something
that only creates a problem later in the movie, obviously.
Exactly. He basically said, fucking athletes do it so they can see where they get their mistakes and they can fucking study it, man. We got to do this. So basically, yeah, this becomes like a way that James Van Der Beek, because like they don't expect that Angus is going to show up knowing how to dance. So they get word that Angus knows how to dance, and then they get worried. And then they blackmail his buddy Troy to get this tape. And then they play it at the dance, which we'll see. But like this is like a genuinely like a scene that like is memorable because he's talking about like, oh yeah, don't you just want to like Melissa? Like she's so hot, man. Come on. And he's genuinely like, man, it's not like that. Like I think I really like her. Like I get a pain in my stomach when I was there. And it's like it's definitely at least puppy love. Like we've all been there, baby.
That's all it can be in high school. It's funny you watch all these movies about middle schoolers and high schoolers, and the object of their in every single fucking movie in the 80s, 90s, the object of their affection, they're always girls that they could never have because they're in totally different cliques and they don't even know they exist, right? That's the cliche. She doesn't even know I exist. Then how could you like her if you guys don't know each other? It's really weird. Like what are they in love with?
It seems like that I've always thought this movie kind of perfects as close as they could possibly come Hollywood-wise to making that work. The way you find out like she's bulimic also, and like you get the feeling they could walk off and at least be friends after this movie, baby.
That you know what's funny? There's no real happy endings. Like maybe they have a respect for each other, but it's not. Oh, I mean, it's not like House Arrest, that movie where Grover Beindorf gets Jennifer Love Hewitt at the end. My fucking ass. Like that's not the way it would really go down. Like maybe they'd be best friends, but he'd be friend zoned for sure. After pawning. Yeah.
See, I wonder if stuff like, hey, look at that. See that thing behind him, that blue circle, and then like a weird red dot. Doesn't that look familiar?
He's got the hair again, man. Wait, hold on. What was it?
You remember like the fucking his experiment he's doing where he puts the
oh yeah.
See, he's already seeing the metaphor in the fucking. So basically, the experiment is like for some reason the dot always gets rejected by the bigger circle, but like he has the Bethune theory he comes up with at the end when he's talking to the valedictorian, whether or not he's gonna make it or not. He's like the Bethune theory. It's supposed to get rejected, but what if the dot can be strong and fucking withstand the pressure, and amazing 5-head shit. It's all about finding your place in the world, baby.
I mean, I don't think he's going to get jacked before the dance. I don't think he's got enough time. But, you know, people like anybody that was like an Angus type, you know, you're a larger kid, start lifting weights, man. Because if you're large like that, you can also get jacked. You have the frame. You just need to turn it from one extreme to the other. And you could be one of those Giga Chads like in your 20s.
Exactly. I remember like as a kid, though, when I was the fat kid, I never thought like fucking like exercise was a thing that was doable. It's like that's something you have to do when you're an adult and you can like fucking have all this extra time and stuff. Like it really was. Like
you thought adults had all the extra time?
Yeah, like it always seems like it's something that's out of fucking your reach for some reason, and it's weird. Yeah.
His other goon is played by Kevin Connolly. He was in that Unhappily Ever After with Nikki Cox and Bobcat Goldthwait. He was obviously in Entourage and a bunch of other shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, no, absolutely. Because it's like if you want to put on muscle, that has to come from fat, right? That's why those guys that are bodybuilding, they eat like 10,000 calories a day because you have to, and they cultivate mass and they go through the bulking period, right? They go through a bulking period, then they go through a cutting phase. The bulking period is where they're lifting heavy ass weights and just eating whatever they want, like just eating. And then you put on all that muscle, but you're like, that padded fucking beefy muscle. And then once you have the muscle on there, because you have to get muscle and fat at the same time, then they'll cut. They'll go through a couple months where they're just changing up the routine and then cutting their diet and stuff like that and trying to keep the muscle as much as possible, burning the fat.
Fucking yeah, like it's weird though. Like fucking, he'd probably be like, "Well, I want to lose weight." Not necessarily. Like it seems like at some point when you're just be like the bodybuilders, it seems like at some point it's like women aren't like fucking impressed by it. Like you got to be doing this just to impress other men. Like that has to be like the only people that really notice it, unless it's like a woman that's really into bodybuilding. You know
You're
what I mean?
well, not everybody that wants to have muscles and is in shape is like the stereotypical bodybuilder you're thinking about, right? That look like statues. No, that's not most. I think most women like the sort of muscle that looks practical. No, it looks like a guy does.
Real quick,
What?
we're getting a look into like fucking basically how our boy Troy is just as fucking insecure as Angus, but Angus is just completely oblivious to it. Like it's just
because every kid is self-centered. Yeah.
Yeah, he brought a note and he's like, "Oh, this is from my doctor." Like he clearly is like, he doesn't want to like get naked or take a shower with other kids, but like we don't notice it. And he's like, "I got a note from my doctor. It's from my dad. He's a dentist. Or he's a doctor and he's a dentist. And I got sore gums."
There was always that. I mean, I'd be willing to bet this actor that plays the dopey friend, he's younger. It's probably the easiest way to do it. But there was always that kid that was just underdeveloped, right? That still kind of looked like he was, that was dragging behind the growth. And he just looked like he was still in the 7th grade. And then yet you're in 9th grade. That might be you might have a bunch of 9th and 10th graders that look like they're fucking 20. It's really odd. But no, I feel him.
Exactly.
Man, Angus got some tits, man.
Chad.
Yeah.
That's what you need. That's what you need. Then you don't gotta worry about finding a woman that has big booty. You can just play with your own. Fucking
there you
want
go.
to.
Well, like I was saying though, yeah, I think some chicks obviously there's someone for everyone. Some chicks like that weird, crazy bodybuilder type that just you have to live in the gym. But I think most women, if you took a vote, they like muscular people, muscular men, but they prefer that practical, like I do construction muscle. You know what I mean? That kind of muscle you get from just doing like manly work.
Mm-hmm.
Which you still get from the gym, but you don't have to be all fucking roid. You don't have to be Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Exactly.
I wouldn't want to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. I wouldn't want to ever put in the work it takes. I couldn't afford it because like dude, you know how much their food budget is? Probably their steroid budget too. I mean, it's just
then you got to worry about finding bigger sizes for all your shirts just for a different reason.
And also, whenever your shit hits the wall when you get older, like even let's just pretend you don't even have an off season, which most people I think do, right? You have every now and again, you just fucking hit the bricks or you get hurt and you just don't work out for fucking 3 to 6 months. That just happens. But let's say you're on it all the time, you're going to get old. And then you have all that fucking mass and it turns to fucking fat. Remember what Arnold Schwarzenegger looked like when he first became the Governor? He looked like shit. He looked like
Here's the scene.
Oh, the underwear.
Your underwear is almost as big as the flag. And then you start seeing it getting bigger. It's so good. But like, imagine, like, it's funny to us now, but as a kid, this would be mortifying. This would be like, oh my God, I hope no one notices it's mine.
Yeah, and then I can imagine going home and you not wanting, most kids probably didn't have the relationship with their parents to open up about that. Like, hey, I'm getting picked on at school or I'm miserable in school. Because maybe it's humiliating to them because they don't want to like tell that to their parents. I don't know. Or maybe their parents are also oblivious too because they're stuck in their own worlds just trying to put food on the table and dealing with their own stress at work where they're like, they don't quite get it. And they're detached from what it was like being in school. And like if that happened to me, Angus wasn't me. But if that happened to me, if I would have told my dad something like that, my dad wouldn't have fucking give a shit. He'd be like, go to fucking school. Get it. Like, Yeah, it's getting bigger.
See, this is so good too because it's a perfect storm. The one person he cares about that he doesn't want to see this is Melissa Lefevre, and he's like, "Please don't see it. Please don't see it." She's looking down. She's distracted, and he's like, "Oh my God, she didn't see it. I want. Oh my God!" And he's so happy. And then the wind blows, and it blows it right into her face, and it's just like, oh, it's just like no.
Were they trying to take it down, or were they trying to let it loose, or who was that? The
they were just taking it. They were taking it down, and then it just blew away from them as they were trying to grab it.
Damn.
Fucking. And that you can tell that like they had to have shown this to a test audience, and like that had to have been one of the biggest laughs because out of nowhere, right here,
Yeah.
I was pissed. You can tell that was added just to like, oh, the test audience really dug that scene. And it really got a big laugh. So let's add that. I was pissed. That was my favorite underwear. That was such a tacked on joke that you can tell was just tacked on.
Dude, my dad was such sorry, I was thinking about some of my dad in school. My dad was such an asshole, man. I remember my dad, he was a very insensitive guy. I remember.
Look, this is super telling though too, because he accidentally just outed him. I'm not the one that put your underwear on the flagpole. There's a kid that they didn't realize was sitting there. He said, "That was your underwear, Angus." But then if you watch, he quickly forgets about it, and it's like that's what it is. You put this shit on such a big like these kids are gonna forget about this the next time something happens. But to you, it's like this is gonna follow me for the rest of my life.
I think. Mostly you're right. I mean, but I don't know, man. Kids have nothing else. Kids don't forget shit, right?
I
you know, the littlest thing.
They do remember, but it's like it's basically the metaphor of it in movie form.
Yeah, the smallest thing happens in school, man. You got a nickname that's following you for the rest of it. You know, and I don't know. I think it's more applicable to adults, right? When you're an adult. Well, so when you're a kid, it kind of goes back to you're trying to impress everybody. You're trying to fit in. You're trying to, whatever. So I think they really do hold on to that shit. But when you're an adult, you're so consumed with your own shitty life and your own stress that, yeah, you definitely don't give a shit what's happening to somebody else is embarrassed or whatever. People don't give a shit. Like, I mean, you might think everybody saw something or everybody's gonna
Here it is. Here's it. Oh.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, like that looks so real. Like I think he got hurt. Doesn't it look like he really got hurt? I'll do my own stunt.
It's really well done. I'm surprised. Like he was a kid actor and he did something like it was that good, and he was just like he wasn't in movies. He quickly just kind of like faded, and now he's maybe he didn't want to do a lot of movies. Who knows?
Well, isn't he like back? Isn't he trying to like act again when you look at his like Instagram with like no followers?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Dude, but I could swear he could be that good, but it almost looked like he tried to do a take and he really hurt himself. And they just rolled with it. It looked like it. It looked legit.
He was able to stay in character, so that's still part of being good at what you're doing.
Fuck. No, anyway, let me say this. So my dad, like the one time ever he picked me up from school, which is literally, I think it's the only time he ever picked me up. He picked me up from middle school, and we're kind of in that traffic of leaving the school, like all the parents, lined up leaving after picking up the kids. And I'm in the 6th grade. I think it was 6th grade. And we're kind of stopped next to another car. Now, in the next car is an Indian woman and an Indian kid. And this Indian kid was a friend of mine. And they were straight up Indian. And my dad just looks over. My window's open, plain as day. He points at him, right? To the point where they look over. They see a man next to him in the car pointing at them. And he says out loud, "Look, Aaron, we got squishies."
Oh no.
And I was so fucking embarrassed. Like that's how clueless my dad was. Like, you don't think maybe I'm friends with this kid? Like, but even if I wasn't friends with this kid, is that not racist as shit?
Wasn't that character from Simpsons? Which
yes. Exactly.
It kind of affected you. And
oh yeah, I guess it does make sense. Like, now, I guess I gotta get it. But he looks at it like, "Aaron, we got squishies." God. Yeah, so maybe that was like the seventh time they heard that day. I don't know, but yeah, it probably meant even more to them. Like, fucking kill me. Like, they're probably thinking more again with the squishies.
And then imagine what your friend must have thought. Like, now that's something my buddy Aaron is gonna think of whenever he's like, what if he never looks at me the same way? What if I'm kind of a joke to him now?
Did I ever tell you what my dad said when I told him Michael Jackson died?
Uh-uh.
If I tell you, you have to first understand that I'm telling everybody, I'm trying to tell a story. I didn't say this. He said this. Right. And I was so appalled. And also, if I say it, you have to bleep it out. You have to.
Fucking, we got people listening. They'll hear it, baby.
What's that?
We're doing this on Discord. People will hear it, baby.
Okay, well,
I'm going to bleep that out.
I mean, who's listening, Mac?
Right. Hell yeah.
Listen, so, I mean, I don't have to say it if you don't want to, but
it's just you. See, here's where we find out, like, fucking, this is a really good line in the movie because he goes, basically, she tells him, like, you know what they do to him? They throw themselves off every time he sits on the benches, and they ran his underwear at the flagpole, and he's like, oh, he didn't tell me that. He didn't tell me either. Fucking, basically, she heard it from like people at the school.
Damn.
And, like, she basically says, like, fucking. Like he says something like, "Oh, it's as if you don't realize how strong he is." She's like, "Don't tell me I don't know how strong my kid is." He gets up every day and goes back, and they're laying this shit on it. The metaphor with the red dot and the blue circle. It's all heady shit, baby. It's all heady shit. And then he just revealed like. That happened to you, didn't it? Look how you turn out. So the mom's been through it, and we all go through it. It's something everybody has to go through. And it's sad because it's like, I know my niece and nephews will have to go through it, and it's like, I can't fucking go through it for them. It's like, they got to go through it. They got to get through it and get older to realize that fucking, like, you know, all the shit that comes with it.
But I'm saying, like, your niece or nephew or whoever, they might be an Angus, or they might be a bitch. They might be a bully. You never know, right? Exactly. And sometimes you'd be surprised, man. It just kind of like depends on how much peer pressure gets to them and the cliques they get into. Like, I have a sibling that I'm pretty convinced was a bitch. Like, I mean, I'm so much older than most of my siblings that I'm not part of the generation, but that, you know, they were like one of the bullies. You know what I mean? And I've got people
likely to, if your home life is, you know, if you have a bully kind of relationship with your parents.
No. But what's funny though is the sibling I'm referring to was the spoiled one. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't know. I can't vouch for that, but I think I had heard things like that. But I think I don't know. I was going to say something else about that. I lost my thoughts. Fucking thoughts.
This is a cute scene. The fucking mom comes and sees him fucking dancing with a blow up doll, which would be super embarrassing.
Yeah, that'd be humiliating.
But because she knows fucking Angus is just, he's so innocent, and it's like he's worried about dancing. Like, he's literally like trying to fucking learn how to dance. And there's something fucking innocent about that. And
yeah, I know. I remember I was going to say, why is it in real life, how many parents actually do it like the movies where the kid has a bully and the dad just takes him out in the yard and teaches him how to fight, like does the Craig Jones? Like, there was, when I was living in Kentucky, you know, back when we had that mom and pop rental store I always talk about, it was a really small town. So everybody rode one school bus. There was one high school and one elementary/middle school. That was it. Or actually, I'm sorry, elementary, and I think all the middle schoolers and high schoolers went to one school. But there was one school bus that took everybody. So on this school bus, you had 5-year-olds and you had 18-year-olds. And this is one of those situations, this is pretty rare, but my brothers and I, we were the minorities, actually. So our school bus, we were like the only white kids. So, which is fine, but it's not a black, white, Asian, it's a statistic thing. It's like whoever's outnumbered. You know what I mean? That's just... You know what I mean? Like, it becomes like this weird.
You're the red dot, if you will.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're black or white, man. It just, if you're the odd one out, whatever,
the square peg.
There's an alienation that happens sometimes. But anyway, we were getting bullied, man, and it wasn't in school. It was just on the school bus, and it was by these high schoolers we didn't even go to school with. So, like, I remember every time we would get on the bus, and it was Valentine's Day or Halloween, some kind of school event where we'd come home with candy, you know, like how they always do that shit in a baggie, and you'd have stuff. And dude, fucking these high schoolers would get on. We'd literally see them putting out their cigarettes before getting on the bus. They'd come on the bus, and they would basically be like the mafia and hit us all up for our candy. And I remember when we refused to give our candy and we were trying to stand up to them, dude, they would take our hands and twist our arms behind our backs. They would twist our fingers and pull our fingers back until we gave. And dude, the school bus driver, he doesn't make enough money to give a shit. No one's stopping this, you know. He's probably just as scared as some of these kids.
Exactly.
And
even if he did say something, it's like fucking like, yeah, like would they even listen? Would they fucking or would it become even worse off for you? Like, oh, I'm gonna get you after this.
But I remember it was becoming an issue, and my grandfather caught wind of it. Oh, you know what? I don't remember how it happened but I think there was one day where he drove us to school. My grandfather, my dad's stepdad, and it probably came about because he was driving us to school. I don't know what happened, but he was having a talk with us. I think maybe somebody told him, my mom, I don't know, but he drove us to school and he was going to have a talk with the school, the administration about it. I'm like, don't do that, please. Like, don't do that. That doesn't help. You know, like, can't you teach me how to kick someone's ass? I guess I understand it. They care about you, but this situation was different now that I think about it, because we were like in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade, and these were like 17 and 18-year-olds. I guess there's no way to defend yourself. So maybe that kind of goes out the window.
I love this shot here because I'm pretty sure it's like stylized and that it's supposed to be kind of a metaphorical type of shot. Like coming up, I'll spell it out right here when it starts. Like, yeah, I noticed this watching it. See right here, he's did you forget to take your pills today? He's like, it's okay. Like, he's on top of the world. He's standing up tall, all this shit. And then like, fuck, it's not starting yet. But basically, yeah, I think the shot is like, he starts out tall and then fucking the camera slowly pans. We see our boy Angus. He starts talking about getting stuck in his own world and all of his own problems. And then like fucking by the time whenever, the camera completely evolves around him and we see the grandpa again, he's sitting there sleeping. And I think that's kind of pointing out that like that is how, we get, because it started out with him saying like fucking, you think they'll always be there. Here it is. He's standing up tall. Mm-hmm. It's almost like you can tell like that they're setting it up, like, and it comes around him as he's talking about like there's just something about Melissa Lefevre, and it's like fucking I get the worst pain in my stomach whenever all the stuff he's talking about here. And the next time we see him, he's sitting in his chair, presumably asleep again. Like every time he's woken him up since the beginning of the movie. And then like fucking that's when he doesn't wake up, and it's like it's kind of like, yeah, like fucking there's so much stuff he could have learned from his grandpa, as he finds out later on, because they're way more alike than he ever would have realized. And then sometimes it's just too late to talk to him about it, baby. Mm-hmm. You gotta cherish them moments.
It's got to be tough to lose family when you're this young. Because I don't think you've developed enough, and if you're older, you've had those opportunities to realize what death is and mortality is, and maybe have those conversations and have those moments and stuff. So I don't know. So when you first saw this movie, when you found out George C. Scott was actually kind of a big deal back in his day, were you like, what, the fucking grandpa from Angus? You know what I mean?
I remember, like, by the time I found out George C. Scott was a big deal, I was like, fucking the grandpa from Angus, exactly. Fucking, that's a great film.
Yeah, and that's probably what I saw him in first, too. Because I remember I've been watching Angus since the mid-'90s. I don't know. I mean, I saw it in the mid-'90s, so, and I wasn't watching Patton. That was like that's a dad movie. That's a grandpa movie.
It's even sadder because I'm pretty sure this was George C. Scott's last film before.
That's what I thought. I was pondering that when you were taking a piss, and I could have swore that's what I read.
And he dies in the movie, and it's really weird. Fucking sad. I'll be surprised if I don't cry watch it, because I always fucking cry watching this movie. But I love this scene because they say so much with just these. Like, he looks at her, and you could tell by the way she reacts. It's like
he's good too. Like, look at those.
Yeah, you can tell by the way she reacts. It's like, I figured this would happen. Like, he's been getting really forgetful and all this shit. It's just like, it'd been more surprising if it didn't happen almost. And
is this your favorite? Oh yeah, this is sad too. Yeah,
this scene is so fucking sad. The fucking song, and there's no dialogue, but it says so much if you're watching it, babe.
I always found these types of situations depressing. Like when you're this old, obviously you meet your friend at the park, you guys play chess every day. You know, this is the type of person where maybe the rest of his friends are all dead. He's a widow now. You know what I mean? And he's just getting to that age. How do you feel? Are you extra lonely, or are you more complacent and comfortable with the thought of the end coming for you too? You know what I mean? I would hope when you think about mortality, it's just scary because we are not of the age to pass. But I'm just hoping, and I'm assuming that by the time we get to those ages, that we're just by nature more accepting of it, you know? Because sometimes I look at like really old people, and I'm like, man, how are they? And there's older people that are like, man, these are the best years of my life. I'm like, yeah, but how could you feel like that when you might only have 5 or 10 or 50, years left? Does that not like haunt you? But hopefully, naturally, when we're there, we're just very comfortable with it, you know. It'll happen.
I think the meaning of life, baby, is just to form connections with other people, and then once you get so old, and it's like all those people you form those connections with are dying off too. It's like maybe it's just my time, baby.
And maybe by the time, if you're lucky enough to live to be a normal, healthy age of passing, it's maybe by that time you're so accustomed to, like, I mean, going in a hospital freaks me out. I don't like hospitals. But by the time someone is 80 years old, if you're lucky enough to reach 80 or 85 or 90, you've been to so many hospitals. And even going to the hospital yourself has probably become such routine because you're older that, I don't know. It's just a normal. And like you said, by that time, you've probably seen so many people pass to where, A, it's taken away the fear of it. I mean, you've seen it so much. And B, it's like, what is it really so bad to go join all those people? Mm-hmm.
This scene is good too because it's like, oh, he's feeling depressed and stuff, and his buddy's trying to like snap, let's go do something fucking we like to do. And it's like, that is how it is too. Like whenever you have a death in family, it is like the idea of doing things that you even find enjoyable is just, it disgusts you, baby.
Isn't it weird? Like humans, I don't think humans can really comprehend.
This is one of the best lines in the movie right here. You don't know how it feels. And then his buddy turns around and he says, let's listen to this. It sums up the movie. Amazing. Fucking 5-head shit.
I mean, they're both different. I mean, he could shove him up his ass. Like he's really tiny. He's Chris Farley and David Spade.
Mm-hmm. And he's trying to let him know that like fucking the bullies, he kind of doesn't want him to show up to the dance because he knows that fucking they used violence and they got him to fucking give him that blackmail tape. So he's afraid like, very fucking, I love this film. But
no, I mean, isn't it weird how humans really can't comprehend death? I mean, we know death is a part of life and it's everywhere, but nobody really focuses on it and thinks about it. But if you were to stop and really just force that to be on your mind and you don't think about anything else, like someday I'm going to die. What does it mean? Like, I mean, like yesterday I'm 35. Literally yesterday I was 20. I'm going to blink and I'm going to be 55. I'm like, what the fuck? And then it's like once I'm 50, that's not that old. But I mean, honestly, people are dying at 60. It's like, I mean, I might have 30 more years, but I might only have 10. It's just this thing that people just have to be blissfully ignorant to. You have to. You just can't focus on it because it's kind of fucked and depressed. I think when you get old, you're more equipped to think about that stuff. But I think it's unhealthy to think about it like as a young person because it fucks with you.
I love the score. Do
not open if you're Superman.
If you're Superman. And it was his grandpa left. He bought that purple suit for him because I have to go now. I have to go to the dance. He believed in me.
Yeah, it's plum.
See, I wonder when I was watching. I was wondering, were they setting up a metaphor? I was thinking, like, is it supposed to be like another metaphor? Like the red dot is like, oh, now, like I was thinking. Like maybe they wanted the suit to be pink because then it's like, oh, the pink elephant in the room, like another kind of subliminal thing to put in, like he sticks out. But then like maybe
that's too much. It doesn't need that a little bit.
It doesn't need it, but like things like that are appreciated, I think.
Yeah, but that's a little bit too much. I mean, are we supposed to believe he would really go as far as wearing a pink tux?
That's the thing. I think they probably, if that was an idea, they thought it would be too unbelievable that he would
Like
show
you can
up.
you
They
can
thought
buy
he could find-
you can buy maybe the plum, even though it's ugly.
Yeah.
But like, okay, but a kid like that's not going to go and wear a fucking pink tuxedo. You know, like it's got a target on his back anyway.
No. And see, look, so this guy shows up. He represents basically what he's trying to escape to. And he comes in, he's immediately very, very uptight, very fucking, he thinks of like, oh yeah, I was trying to get here earlier, but I was fucking sidetracked by a bunch of people going to the football game. What a dumb sport. Like, so right away, it's just like, fucking, this is like kind of the snobby, like, is this really what I want? Do I want to run away from my problems? Because I'll just find new problems at this new school.
Exactly. He needs to ditch the cummerbund. Why do people think those are a good idea? Why do people wear those? It's fucking huge.
What is that?
Well, maybe it's not the cummerbund. That fucking thing around his waist. What is that called? Is that not the cummerbund? That's not the cummerbund. What is that thing?
I'm not sure. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? That waist thing? Not every.
Yeah.
I don't think people really wear them anymore. It might be a dated thing. But
maybe.
Hey, something that should be appreciated about this movie, and I'm not taking the piss. It really is. The pacing. It moves by so briskly. Like it it doesn't drag. I mean, we're already over an hour into it. It just goes right by.
We're entering the third act right now, baby. And this is where he puts it together. He notices, like, what if fucking this science experiment I've been doing is, it's my life, baby. What if I am the red dot? What if fucking, as long as the red dot can be strong and fucking tell the big circle, I'm still here, asshole. Maybe it can stay there. Maybe it doesn't have to fucking, explode and fucking evaporate into the fucking.
You just have to survive. You just got to survive and stand there.
Exactly.
Hey, so what's the story with him? Did he not even want to attempt to get more work after this? Or it was just like a one and done? Like, all right, good experience and I'm not even going to try anymore. Or did he try and just not get any work?
I don't know. There's not a lot of known. Like, I know he was in like another kind of artsy movie in like 2000, and that was kind of like, oh, the guy that played Angus, he's back, he's acting in movies in. But then that was another kind of one. Yeah, more recently, he was like a small role in the Watchmen series on HBO. But here it is. Look, what is your point? This is gonna prove the Bethune theory. He's like, what is your point? He's like, there is no normal. Where are you going? To mutate. Fucking amazing.
Yeah, there really isn't a normal. Because think
if
about it.
If there was a normal, it's immediately like exactly like.
Look, the normal. Think about it. What you might perceive as normal wherever you went to high school ain't so normal because in 5 years the culture shifts and it's not even what was normal is no longer normal. It's like when you watch the 21 Jump Street, that movie, that reboot movie, right? And they go back to high school, and Channing Tatum was the hot shit, whatever, and he's saying he doesn't fit in anymore because now it's cool to be metro and accepting of everybody and stuff like that. And he's, you can't say loser and drop the F-bomb and shit, derogatory and stuff like that. There is no normal.
It's always changing. It's spelled out by what's going on in pop culture at the time, and it just fucking it changes over time.
So my theory is, sorry to interrupt. My theory with the Angus actor is, after finishing this movie, he probably saw what the fuck that the writing was on the wall for that Furlong kid that was discovered just like him. Like, I don't want to end up like that kid, all coked out. He's on a path of destruction. I'm gonna go be like a lawyer or something.
Exactly.
Because Furlong went the opposite way. Furlong got into the acting and they ate him up. But Furlong was also different, right? He had a different look than Angus. Furlong probably he was all over like the Tiger Beat magazines and shit like that. He got ate up and consumed by different sorts of management and stuff that were just preying on him, I'm sure.
There he is, fucking the when it first shows him wearing that and he says, I look like Moby Grape. I always laughed at that, but I didn't know Moby Grape was a real person. I thought he was making like
Moby Dick and a grape, but a grape.
Yeah, Moby. Like, I thought he was like, is he saying he's like a big purple whale?
That's what I thought too. I mean, Moby Grape must be such a dated reference that it went over everybody's head. I'll be like, I don't know.
Exactly.
Maybe it was like a half a hit wonder from the era that we didn't even know existed because they were just gone as quickly as they came.
So here we go. Fucking, he showed up and like right away, everybody's surprised. Fucking his buddy is like, he's worried because like fucking they're gonna fuck with you here because they got that tape, and he's trying to tell him, but fucking Angus was just steadfast, ready to go in, baby, get it going. And fucking like it's we know it's coming, but fucking how's he gonna react? But like yeah, they really nailed this kind of awkward, like the awkwardness of like, you know, getting your moment. It's like, oh, now I get to talk to the. It really does always seem to play out like that. This super awkward, like fucking coming up where like we just saw where she's looking at him and it's like, okay, it's time to go. Get ready to dance. You gotta go back there, and she walks off, and it's like right here he's trying to undo the fucking box, and he's sweating, and he's fucking this guy hands him something. He's like, oh fucking, he puts it in his mouth, and then you realize like, oh, that's stupid. I should just put it on my head. What the fuck? Like you're so in your head when you're going through shit like this, and then when he finally opens it up and gets it out, he realizes that he never practiced pinning this onto like his blow-up doll, so now he doesn't know how it works, and it's just more awkward. And then she starts.
But yeah, it doesn't have to be awkward. Like if you just go with the flow. I mean, if that was me and I didn't know how to put it on, I wouldn't make a fool of myself. I'd be like, hey man, help me out here. What's going on? You'd make it work.
But she eases the tension because she says, "Man, I sweat when I get nervous, don't you?" And it's just like, I do. Like you do that too.
I sweat when I'm not nervous. Yeah.
Exactly.
He went cross-eyed for a second there. That was weird.
Right there. It's okay because the guys are supposed to. Oh, you know, and he fucking swashes out a big fucking wet palm fucking worth of sweat off his face. Amazing.
Is this homecoming or prom? What is this?
Prom, I think. Yeah. Oh, right there. She goes. It's just that everybody's gonna be staring at us, and then he looks over at her and he goes, well, you should be used to people staring at you. And it almost sounds like he's being sarcastic, but he's genuinely like you don't like that. Like you also don't want to be like noticed.
Well, it's kind of shit for her too, man, because he put her on the spot. He put her in this position to like be part of some joke. You know what I mean? Like maybe she doesn't want to be involved with this, and she sort of got railroaded into this too.
Exactly. And maybe, like, for all fucking Angus knows, most people just think of him not as, like, fucking this gross fat kid. He's just like, oh, yeah, the super tall kid that's really quiet. Like, fucking, and they don't think more about it. Like, he doesn't occupy that. Because, like, being, like, social anxiety, like, you have to realize at some point how kind of, like, it's kind of, it's very vain in a way to think that you're that important and that people are just thinking about.
And you know what's funny? Well, you know what's funny is someone like Angus, you don't get the impression that the whole school's not making fun of him. He's just sort of maybe like that invisible type of kid where he keeps himself. It's just these three assholes. These three assholes that are actually torturing him. You know what I mean? And if those three assholes didn't exist, you'd think, you know, maybe he'd still be like a socially in the shadows or whatever, but he would probably get by fine and he'd have his friend and whatever. It'd be all right. It's just these three assholes.
There it was. They showed the tape and fucking she's embarrassed. Angus is probably thinking like, fucking, now she knows, though, the big fat kid has a crush on her. That must be so embarrassing. But like fucking, and then that look he gives Troy, like, how could you? And he looks fucking genuinely like, sorry. Oh man, fucking, it's sad. It's
Dude,
so
I remember
sad.
when we started sixth grade, first day of sixth grade, we had sort of like a computer class. It wasn't a computer lab class. It was more like tech, like learn to make graphic design. There was different modules, even some like robotic shit. It was pretty, we had a lot of money in this particular school district. Anyway, the first day of school, just sort of getting to know everybody, the teachers getting to know everybody's names. He says, everybody pull out a piece of paper. We're going to do an experiment. This is first day. Nobody knows anybody. And this is a new school, sixth grade. We moved on to middle school. And so, you know, I didn't know anybody in this class because, you know, it's like a middle school comprised of like 3 or 4 elementaries. So anyway, right, pull out the piece of paper. They said it was 2 guys that were the teachers. And like I said, this was like a fucking tech science computer class. He says, all right, now I want everybody on that piece of paper to write out your crush. Like, what? It was so awkward being like in the 6th grade and you don't really, and they literally were walking around and made you write down a name. It was so fucking awkward. So you couldn't even just not participate. And then, but they were saying, yeah, it's a trust experiment. Like it's like, and I'm thinking to myself, what does this have to do with graphic design and shit? This is it had nothing to do with graphic design. Anyway, they said, we won't tell anybody what's on the paper. Like, it's just, it's fine. Like, it's a secret. It's a confidentiality thing. Like, okay. And they were literally walking around making sure everybody did it, and even if you were showing resistance. And so they got to me, and, I'm like, I was showing a little bit of resistance, and they're like, and, they had reassured me. So I wrote down a name, just like fucking like, and like, okay. He's like, all right. And they went to the front of the class with all the pieces of paper. And, I don't remember what prompted it. Yeah.
I think you mentioned this before. Yeah,
they fucking read them, and then I think I was the first one. Man, he grabbed it. He's like, "Whose is this?" No, I think I was the last one he grabbed the paper from or something. But he went up to the class and he's like, "Don't worry." He's like, "I'm not gonna tell him your crush is." And he read the name and he laughed, and it was like so embarrassing. And no, you know what was worse? It wasn't the crush. It was in the class. Like, who's your crush in the class? Can you imagine if there was like some gay? Can you imagine there was like some kid who didn't know he was gay, was a gay class? Wait, all right, Ricky, your crush is Bobby, your best friend. That's so funny. No, but it was so funny because like, the girl that I wrote down was a girl I kind of knew, and I knew one of her friends, and of course they looked at me like, and I had to be like, oh, it's a different one. You don't know her. Duh.
Like, that's just being cruel to kid. Like, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
it was fucking awkward as shit, dude. It's so awkward. And yeah, I wish I could go back in time as an adult and be like, what does this have to do with anything? You guys are fucking, don't do this. Stick to the curriculum, assholes.
We talked over the part where she confides in him, and like she's embarrassed, and it's not because like fucking of Angus. She's embarrassed for Angus almost, and like, what a jerk. He's fucking. He got me involved in this stupid scheme of his, and then that's when she confides in him that like she's bulimic. So like they're more alike than he ever could have known, baby. Like, they both
like to eat.
Uncomfortable.
They both like to chow down. She just throws it up after.
And he's able to fucking score some points by doing that joke. He's like, I tried it once, but when I stuck my finger down my throat, I was still hungry, and I almost ate my arm. And she gets a laugh out of it. And fucking, it's a cute moment. It's a cute movie. And it would be good if it ended after this, but then it just like fucking then it keeps accelerating, like fucking stepping it up because James Vanderbeek comes in and pushes him around, and it becomes a big spectacle. And he has this big moment where he tells him off, and it's so good. It's wonderful, right there.
Go for it, Angus. Go for it, Angus.
And that could come off as like a comedic, like, or like a genuine heartfelt moment too. It works.
Yeah. Do you? I can't imagine me ever having an issue like that, but I totally get how people could be bulimic because I think you can get addicted to anything. And can you imagine just throwing up every time you ate something? Fucking hate it. It would just be compulsive, right? It just becomes compulsive. It's like I don't have a choice. I have to do this, and that'd be so fucking gross.
So now James Vanderbeek is really pissed off because he's fucking, this moment didn't go as funny as he thought it would. But I always like that song too that's playing. What is that? Mazzy Star or Maisie Star? Who sings that?
Mazzy Star.
They had that song, Look on down from the bridge. It's like one of the saddest sounding fucking songs I've ever heard in my life. I love it.
Look at him. Even the bully. Clapping their hand. Yeah, this is even sort of a romanticized ending. The movies always end like this, where the bully gets his, right? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And everybody comes around, and the underdog is appreciated, and the main bully, like Vanderbeek, gets what's due to him. That doesn't happen in real life, unfortunately.
I feel like this it does a good job of making, like, because he doesn't get back on him by beating up the big jock. He out intellects him. He basically puts him in his place, points out basically what we all fucking come to realize, like fucking, there's no normal, baby. Fucking, to be normal, we all have to be like you. This room's full of people that are nothing like you. And then there's that great moment at the end of it where he goes, fucking, I forgot. We'll get to it.
Can you imagine if Angus accidentally killed him? Like, he hit his head on a stair step. What if he just again and again, and he just fucking killed him? Like, oh shit, now Angus is going to fucking juvenile hall or into prison. Like, what the fuck happened?
this is another moment too, because the valedictorian, the dean or whoever, he comes up and he sees it going. He lets it happen because he knows fucking
He
this
knows.
is Angus's moment, baby.
Fat. Some of them are skinny. Some of them
He's like fucking go for it, Angus. Just like fucking Troy, baby.
have birthmarks or scars or frizzy hair or
Or ears that stick out.
I was it.
The shot is so good.
Yeah.
or need or believe.
And then yeah, he's just talking about the fucking what we were talking. They're going through their own battles, baby. Fucking, there's no normal people.
What does that make them?
Yeah.
And you get the feeling that fucking he actually like it gets to him, like he fucking like, oh, I guess I never thought about it like that. And then fucking Melissa Lefevre gives him that look like, fucking dude, he got you. He fucking dogged you, like you fucking lose. And then it just walks away.
I witnessed this, man. So like bullies they have hearts, I guess, too. I remember being in the principal's office for one reason, and next to me,
that's what the last line that really did. Whatever I am, something you'll never be. And then he gets the one up. He goes, "Thank God," and walks off. Very Chad, big concrete cock on this man.
Yeah, I mean, you wish people like the James Vanderbeeks of the world would really realize, like, hey, man, in 2 years you might be fucking working construction. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but Angus might be Silicon Valley or something. You know what I mean? I mean, just. It doesn't fucking matter. Dude,
And
there's...
then Melissa comes up. She's like, I want to dance. He's like, you don't get it. I can't. She's like, screw him, Angus. Amazing. Exactly what his grandpa was saying. Exactly what grandpa was saying.
Yeah, and it's funny, like, how this era doesn't matter because nobody's really truly blossomed or hit their final form, whether that's potential-wise or even, like, appearance-wise. Dude, we went to high school with so many people that I don't know how many of the quote unquote it girls that actually grew up now. Like if you went on social media and looked at them now, like what the fuck happened? Like they just hit a wall, you know, and they just don't look good anymore. And then, but there's a lot of the people that were the quiet girls or sort of the odd ducks that fucking grew up to be bangers. You know what I mean? Like what the fuck happened? And yeah, you have those stories. There's like the Angus kid that, you know, you find him on social media now and yeah, he discovered the gym and he fucking hit his spurt and he's all jacked and he's like a Giga Chad now. What the fuck?
Giga Chad.
You know, and you have those guys that were the fucking jock types, man, and they went nowhere. You have a little bit of everything. I mean, how you do in high school does not guarantee what you're going to do after high school.
They're playing a B-side from fucking Pinkerton era Weezer. Fucking, she said to me, baby, don't you cry. Very Chad. And apparently Weezer was asked to write a song inspired by the film, and Rivers Cuomo read the script and wrote 2 songs, Wanda, in which he sings from a first-person point of view with lyrics such as "My mom drives a big rig and my daddy is gay," which refer to the original script, and "You Gave Your Love to Me Softly," which that's the only one that made it into the movie. Very Chad.
Why do you think they removed that original script? Did they think that was just too much for the current audience? Like, we don't need it, but you know what I mean? And it's just like we don't need it to add to the character. And also it's like, why even risk it? Like if there's backlash to it, maybe totally a studio move.
Look at this though. Very Stacy and very Chad. And I think they could totally end up being friends out of this movie. Maybe not,
friends.
You know, high school sweethearts.
No.
But it's one of those things that, like, even if that's not the case, it's like it adds to the character of Angus.
Yeah, it just doesn't. I mean, real life is still real life. A physical attraction is still very much a thing. I mean, the movies are still going to be like romanticized and stuff. I mean, yeah, they probably were friends and they were cool. I hope the worst case scenario is this really is just Angus's quote unquote moment. And then after a week or so, James Vanderbeek is still the cool kid and she's like not acknowledging him or waving to him in the halls anymore. Because I mean, I think something like that could happen too.
Right here, he walks off. He's like, I had my moment. And then he says, I hear my grandpa say, now go have another. And it's like, hell yeah. Like, this doesn't have to be a moment. I could do this every day. All it takes is being brave.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Seize the day. Seize the moment.
Chad.
Montel Williams used to say.
I love Montel. I love my Montel.
Maybe I will.
Now go have another. very chat. Then I heard my grandfather say, "You got a big concrete cock, Angus. Go have another chick."
Is this your favorite Kathy Bates movie?
Probably.
We can add to our Kathy Bates exploitation and our Furlong exploitation at the same time by doing A Home of Our Own. You ever seen that movie?
I haven't.
It's a drama that came out in the mid 90s. It's when Furlong he's not T2 young, but he's like a teenager. He's high school aged. And it's about a family that has Kathy Bates is the mom, the matriarch or whatever, and she's widowed and she's raising like fucking 4 or 5 kids on her own and they're super poor. And it's just about this family trying to get by. And Furlong's the oldest, so he's kind of like the man of the house, right? And his brothers and sisters are so much younger. And it's basically them just trying to get by on their own with no money and no father figure anymore. And they just want a home. And they end up getting a home. And it's just like a little drama. It kind of got swept under the rug. It got forgotten about. But it's worth a watch. You should watch it. Yeah, it's a drama, though.
We are hearing the song J.A.R. by Green Day, which was that was a non-album track. I think that was a single that like didn't make it out. I think it was around the album after Dookie, Insomniac, I think.
Why don't Insomniac, I think it was Insomniac?
I think so, yeah.
Why do I feel like this is missing the predictable subplot of come on, we gotta try and get Green Day to play our prom, and then Green Day's playing the prom at the end. Doesn't that seem like something like No Doubt on what's it called? What's that No Doubt on King of the Hill? Was that right?
That's what a fucking hack fucking high school movie would have done. See, it's actually kind of genius because the producer of this movie was the producer of Green Day, so like he kind of just smuggled them onto the soundtrack probably.
Well, it made them sort of part of the narrative too, with like the Green Day concert tickets and stuff. I don't know. It just feels like that would have happened in a different movie, right? What? Green Day showed up to the school because they already talked about him, and then you get like a weird interaction between him and Angus, right? Some validation. Like maybe it shows the dopey friend, like, go get him, Angus, and then it cuts to Billy Joe Armstrong. Go get him, Angus. Something fucking cheesy.
See, if they were gonna make a part 2 that completely just was self-aware. That could be like if they made like the fucking basically the Brady Bunch movie version of Angus 2. I always said like if they ever remade this movie or made a sequel, I could see like Wes Anderson doing a good job, fucking getting kind of like the tone and like the subtle comedy that should be there.
Yeah,
but yeah, I love this movie. It's a 10 out of 10 for me.
It's a good movie. I know Riverman loves it too. I really like it. I don't think it's a 10 out of 10, but I don't have the connection that you do. But I've been watching it since the 90s.
Flawed, but it's like it's such little flaws that like all the flaws are just drowned out by all the
the movie. There's nothing that hurts the movie. Like it moves by fast. It hits its points. It's I don't know what it is. I can't tell you anything that's wrong with it because there isn't anything wrong with it.
There's a part of me that wants that fucking like 2-hour version. Like if fucking some company would fucking find I'm surprised this movie isn't out on Blu-ray. It doesn't have such like maybe that's something that could be cool if like just the right people found this commentary and it got like it became one of the fucking bigger like what if like a year from now we're talking about the Angus commentary is still our biggest view. Like it becomes that one, and then it's just maybe like people with it has got buzz. Why don't we fucking put it out on Blu-ray, fucking a special edition? Get a commentary with fucking everybody involved.
No, fuck that. Be like, hey, I want to get those BTM guys. We'll put their commentary on it. That'd be awesome.
Oh yeah, I would come.
Wouldn't that be sweet, man? If there was somebody out there that liked our shit enough, and they actually worked for one of those studio, like a Shout Factory or something, like, hey, let's put their commentary on as a little bonus, just in addition to.
I would call.
I'd be like, pay me.
Oh,
pay me.
Fucking
pay me or don't do it.
Retroactively pay us. Fucking, we did it for free, but you gotta pay us now.
Absolutely. Well, so my lady has a nephew that just came to town, and he's not old enough for this movie. But if he was a little bit older, I would be like, hey, you got to watch this movie because probably spending a little bit of time with them. But this kid, though, he's 5 and he's obsessed with dinosaurs and he's never seen Jurassic Park. So I'm going to rock his world. I'm going to show this kid Jurassic Park in the next couple of weeks.
And then when he's older, you could be like, hey, that chick from Jurassic Park, she did another movie called Angus.
Yeah, when he's like,
Fucking-
you don't have to be high school age to appreciate. This could resonate with middle school too, because it's kind of the same thing.
That's around the time I saw it. I think I saw it around fucking like fifth grade, something like that.
I saw it around when it came out, so I was probably like 10 or 11.
It would have been, around the time it came out. I'm just kind of, that's kind of like when I remember watching it and it really hitting. But like, I was watching it.
Yeah.
I remember my mom rented it and I saw like a trailer on it for another VHS and I was like, that looks fun. But then like, when my mom rented it and I really fell in love with the movie.
Rock on. Well, that was a good commentary, and that just proves that a commentary can be really good if you like what you're watching. So Zach obviously was the commander of that one. It's a good movie. It's real easy to talk about. Obviously, it spurs on a lot of conversation about real shit and real stories. We all got stories from high school and middle school and things like that. So it's cool. Brings on a lot of relatable discussion. But thank you guys, everybody, for listening to this one. And if you guys are new to the channel, please, please, please like the video if you're on YouTube. And if you're listening to us on podcast services, please leave us 5-star ratings, positive feedback, all that stuff so we can rise in the algorithms and get the word out there to other folks like you guys that will enjoy what we do. Also, if you guys want to support us even more, all we can ask for is that you guys subscribe and like the videos and all that good stuff. But you can also support us on Patreon, $2 a month. That's all it takes. You guys can get early access to every show we do. There's a plethora of them. We got Mac and Zach Save the World. Obviously, these BTM commentaries. We got Cinema Enema. Lots and bonus episode. Mac and Zach do bonus episodes just for Patreon. Right now, we're slowly but surely getting through the entire Ash vs. Evil Dead commentaries up there as well. And also, you get to be a part of these commentaries. So whenever we record these, we have a private Discord on top of our public Discord. That's for everybody. You have a private Discord where you guys can join us as we're recording these and sort of be a part of the experience. Other than that, what do we have to promote? What do you guys have, Mac and Zach wise? I know recently you put out Star Kid. Is there anything else up by the time this is posted?
With the Patreon only or exclusive Night of the Creeps will be up, and then the next one I'm gonna do, I picked already. It's gonna be Dank to Dust, and we're gonna do Road Trip, the fucking Tom Green classic. I think that'll be fun.
Hell yeah! And so as of you guys listening to this, we have a Cinema Enema up most recently where we talk about Perfect Blue. Which, by the way, I saw that you bought a copy.
I bought a copy of that, and I got Star Kid on DVD.
Star Kid wasn't worth Blu-ray?
There's no Star Kid Blu-ray, just on DVD available.
I'm looking at a stack. I bought, like I said, I bought all of Satoshi Kon's movies. I got them all right here. So, and I'm stoked. And all the ones that were Shout Factory titles have slipcovers. For some reason, Paprika was put out by somebody else, and Shout Factory didn't get their hands on that one. So yeah, and I got Ninja Scroll too, finally, and that had a slipcover, much to my delight. So I might watch that one this weekend. But
you know what I was thinking? I was thinking of other things to get people to get on the Patreon. What if Mac and Zach did like Mac and Zach come on things, and it's basically like you pay like $100
come tribute.
You get to come tributes. Exactly, you get to like recommend we come on something, and then we'll come on it.
How do you keep that kind of PG? Do you just like keep it at the angle of whatever's being contributed?
I'm not being serious whatsoever. There's no way.
Yeah, you could just keep the camera stuck on whatever's being contributed on the floor, and then you just see the load spurt on it.
Yeah, probably. Since like that OnlyFans is like rebranding is like more friendly. I'm pretty sure the fucking Patreon would not want that, baby.
Well, I mean, all it is opening up the avenue for someone else to take the mantle. If OnlyFans is rebranding like their image, right?
Just make a new fucking.
Just be out with it and call it Come Tribute.
Come on things. Just call it blank comes on things, and it's like whatever your your username is like. Oh, Zach comes on things.
Hi everybody, join my Aaron Comes on Things account. Join my Zach Comes on Things account.
What if we just came up with like a really Silicon Valley type fucking 5-head idea, and somebody's gonna take it for free?
You know what's funny though? People would take that and run with it. Be like, you know what? I really don't have to just come on things on this account. I could fuck it. It would just turn into OnlyFans with a really. I don't know. I think the OnlyFans, the appeal of it is the fact that it doesn't have a vulgar name. If people could turn something called I Come on Things into something just like OnlyFans, but nobody would like talk about it so much because you couldn't say it. OnlyFans, you can talk about on CNN. You can't say I come on things, the new app that's sweeping the nation. It's ridiculous.
We'll spell it COME. It's not dirty. It's a word.
Or you just call I come. So it's out of context. Like, well, yeah, he comes. He comes to the airport. He comes over for dinner.
Is this the new Apple Watch feature? I come. This is the watch jack you off now. Very Chad.
That would be funny, man. But yeah, so that's an idea. We're always open to suggestion. You know, hey, we also have a Teespring. I want to bring that up as well, where you guys can also support us and wear some swag and get some physical tender for it. We have shirts up there for Cinema Anima, BTM, Mac and Zach Save the World. Something for everybody. I think we need to get it. It's been a long time since we've had a new design up there. I still think we should get a new Cinema Anima. Maybe one of each, like a new design for each thing.
Oh yeah, I still need to buy personally some shirts. Like I still haven't gotten around to it. I need to.
Oh yeah, you just have that one that you got from the con. That I got you from the con.
Yeah.
So hey, and also if you're reading this, if you're listening to this, there is a bonus episode of Cinema Anima. I believe, if my math and calculations are right, it probably came out the day before you're hearing this. But it was a Cinema Anima bonus conversation that we had with director Randall Plunkett. Really, really good friend of the Revival House. Good friend of mine. He's got a new movie out that, if you're listening to this, it's out now, called The Green Sea. Supporting him is supporting us, and I really do mean that. And you can get it on Amazon, iTunes, Google, all that shit. But I know I've bought my copy on Amazon, so you can rent it, you can buy it, support it, and by all means, let us know what you think of it. Leave your feedback. Go on Letterboxd, go on imdb.com, and leave him a rating, because that's, with indie flicks like this, that stuff really matters. The people that you look for further distribution. His next goal, which is looking very likely now, is getting a physical release. And the people, the powers that be that make that stuff happen, they look at that stuff. They look at ratings. They look at how many people are leaving reviews. It's a shitty world, man. Same thing with our podcasts. If you guys like our podcast, it's the same system. Reviews, man. They want to see how many people are listening. So you might have 1,000 people listening, but if you got one person reviewing, nobody gives a shit. They want to see reviews. So help a brother out, help him out, and hopefully you guys dig the chat. We were talking for 3.5 hours about all sorts of stuff, about the film, about working with Catherine Isabel, about just making a feature in general as an indie filmmaker, and just about films in general that inspire all of us. It was a cool friend hang, really cool conversation. But that's all we got, and I think Zach gets to choose the next 2 Cinema Animas. Technically.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
All right. So to be determined on that. That's all we got. Thank you guys so much, and we'll catch you guys next time. Bye, puppets.
End of the week at the Revival House. Next month's theme, you gotta figure it out. Italian zombies or Pauly Shore, a slasher with a knife and the girl next door, and one second in, get it all queued up and ready, hit play in 3, 2, 1. Bye bye puppets, Zach Pete and a solo cut band. Couldn't miss Cameron's love and Josh's Scott Vale and Riverman's babe. Bye bye puppets. Sounds good, like this country used to.